Hello everyone and welcome to the part 4 playthrough of Baron Sebastian. In this part I'll show you a canonical ending of this map. If you want to see an ending that involves Luciana and a happy story about a father and a daughter finding each other after having been separated by life and then living peacefully thereafter, doing piracy, robbing ships, killing people, all the good stuff. And then leaving us all wondering if they committed incest before they knew about their blood link. This good old Hollywood-style happy ending. To be fair, they probably did not, because they were too busy counting move points. Watch the part 3 of this playthrough if you want that. Jokes aside, there are amazing fights, so if you missed it, check it out. Also, in previous part I tried a slightly different format for the boss fights, offering you a way to put yourself in my shoes and take a crack at more notable fights. I will continue it for this part as well. Please let me know in the comments if it's an interesting idea for the best fights, or if you just ended up skipping it. The first fight is nothing special, as you can see. Just a way for us to lose some mana. Probably could be done more efficiently. And then we get joined by nymphs again. These ladies follow us throughout this map. Very interesting. You might wonder, why would we need them? And, well, we'll see. Okay, that's an interesting enemy. You might think that there is a typo in the editor and author accidentally gave him too many dragons. But no, there is no mistake. Also, if you didn't think it's bad enough, it is Zidar, level quadrillion billion, and he has a couple of spells. An ice bolt that he can use to kill our units, and a hypnotize. You might think a weird choice. Pause now if you want to think about a solution before watching further. Well, I hope you picked up on the hypnotize spell he has, because that's exactly what we will be using against him. And that's our only choice, basically. And nymphs will be our primary weapon, because they're immune to cold and he can't kill them using the ice bolt. Also, his 2 1-stacks are very helpful in providing some protection to our units. In the beginning, the tricky part is to keep our units closed in the way you see and not let dragons inside. The problem is that enemy has an Iron Fist of the Ogre and his units get a Fire Shield. This Fire Shield destroys any of our units, retaliating to attacks of enemy ones. And basically our retaliations are also very likely to kill them too, unless that's a retaliation of a small nymph stack. So either of units getting killed will provide space for dragons to enter and destroy us, and we need to avoid that. So in order to avoid this whole thing, I had to hypnotize the bird and make sure that the worm could only hit small neem stacks in first 2 turns, and it's impossible to do unless you free up some space inside by sacking at least one of your units outside, and in this case enchanters are perfect because they're the beefiest unit we have, and AI would most likely cast a nice bolt on them. And we basically, you see what we've done. I also triggered invulnerability on Coatl on turn 1, making dragons stay back for 1 turn. Now that's the whole thing that we are doing here. Basically, I applied anti-magic to my 2 units inside this wall. I sacrificed a Coatl to give myself a little bit to make it easier to close in, and also I don't have to apply anti-magic to him anymore. And so, as you can see, after dragons hit a nymph, Fire Shield kills around 380 dragons. So it's worth explaining. Maybe I don't remember, maybe I explained it already. Probably I did, but always worth reiterating. So since enemy has a specialty, we can use it against him, and the way we use it is basically as soon as he takes over our unit with Hypnotize. Actually, his skills are applied to this unit, not our skills. And so our Fire Shield, if for example I would cast Fire Shield right now and he would attack nymphs without applying Hypnotize, it would deal like, I don't know, 100 damage, like 200 damage. And obviously that, like a normal Fire Shield damage you would expect, right, in this situation. But after he applied Hypnotize, his sorcery is applied now to the Fire Shield, and as you can see, it's almost 400 dragons killed in a single hit. So that's the idea. Now, how do you make sure? Why, you may wonder, why do I teleport it back and forth, and also I move around units inside, like Sea Dogs and Bounty Hunters. So now I made a mistake there. That's actually very nice for education purposes, but not very nice for my execution. So as you could see, he did not cast Hypnotize this time. So I messed up. And the problem is, if you pay attention, I move my units back. Now that's correct. And now nymphs can enter inside and attack Sea Dogs when I move my units back. And that's why Zidar, when he sees that nymphs can attack my other units, right, he actually casts Hypnotize. And also because dragons do not reach nymphs at the same time. But then once he casts Hypnotize, I move my units forward a little bit, taking away this single spot where nymphs could enter. And at this point they no longer can enter. And the hypnotized units have a very peculiar behavior in heroes, that, well, AI behavior, so to say. So if a hypnotized unit do not reach any targets to hit, then it basically does nothing, like moves one tile randomly in some direction. And so that's basically the idea. So I'm with position of my units on the left side, I bait AI into casting Hypnotize, and then I close the only space where a hypnotized unit could enter, and next turn basically dragons do not have any other target to hit, and they hit nymphs, therefore losing 380 dragons or so. Kind of pretty cool and very instructive thing, I think. A very interesting way to use enemy specialty against him. And also this shuffle on the left side is also, I think it's pretty instructive. Like way I'm baiting Hypnotize and then taking it away. I think it's pretty nice. Although, as I understand it, author's decision actually solution doesn't involve this teleport back and forth. But frankly, I don't know like how he was doing it. I'm not sure. Okay, dragons are done. Now we have a couple of units that are helpfully hypnotized for us, so we can just deal with them after we resurrect everyone. I probably don't have to resurrect nymphs there, but I resurrected for the next fight. I have plenty of mana. And I have only one more fight for this day, and that's a small fight. Also quite nice probably for someone who doesn't know how to use a fake breath. Okay, so there we go, this Phoenix stack. So Phoenixes are obviously the fastest here, and they will be hitting me no matter what. So I'm just gonna set my units up for a breath attack, for fake breath, enchanters and the coatls specifically. And this way Phoenixes will be hitting only coatls while they think that they hit both units. So very, very simple, as you can see. And now I just can shoot at them while they continue basically doing nothing. At some point they will switch to nymphs or some other unit, but I can just as well continue resurrecting this unit. And as long as they don't deal the breath damage, like don't damage two units at the same time, I don't really care about it. Okay, and we have ourselves a berserk, a mighty berserk. Or is it? We'll see. Next fight against this fella. Oh, that's also a pretty interesting fight. But kind of actually solution seemed to me very obvious, but also pretty cool solution. So not hard to solve for sure. See if you can do. I'll pause when this fight begins, and I will explain you what this enemy represents. This lizard face is actually a super duper high level crack hack in disguise. Just to give you an idea of how high just a single worm in his army, not a full stack, just one, with his super low stats, as you can see, just 1-1, would probably deal around 2000 damage to any of our units. So basically it can kill anyone. This hero is also immune to Berserk thanks to a Pendant of Dispassion, and the only spells that he has are Magic Mirror and Sacrifice. Pause now if you want to take a crack at it yourself. This fight represents a very nice but approachable puzzle with a beautiful solution. We will take advantage of a few things. As you probably noticed, there is a nice pocket in the middle of the battlefield. Entrance is a bit awkward from the right side, but we now have an Iron Fist of the Ogre and we can enter it reliably under haste after 2 turns. The safe setup is not difficult to find either. We need to put a Coatl to a spot where a freshly summoned clone would be blocking the entire pocket for dragons and worms. And we need to be able to block the pocket right as we move in. Let's see how it looks. So first thing, we need to also make sure that none of enemy units end up inside the pocket, turn 1. And we create a clone, so a couple more details. We will be blocking the pocket with Coatl clones, and we need to be able to get them killed so to be able to recreate them immediately. New clones and any clones don't have haste on them, unlike our other units, so we would not be able to recast them unless we dispel the haste after our units are inside. Because clones would be slowest unit, right? And we need to get them killed and then summon a new clone. And the second important detail is that enemy units have speed 10, and in order to be able to create clones after Coatls are removed, we need our next fastest unit after Coatls to have speed 11 at least, and that's enchanters. So our enchanters need to have speed 11, and thankfully we just happen to have 2 speed artifacts that we need to bring here. With all this in place, we have a rock solid solution for this beautiful puzzle. As you can see, enemies just can't get in. And he just ends up sacrificing dragons as we thin them down. Last dragon stack. After we deal with the last stack, we can have a clone to block the entrance for 2 turns instead. So we don't have to sacrifice a clone anymore. He can stay, and now worms will waste their turn instead. And you see what damage worms deal. So it's less than 2000, but it's over 1000 damage per worm. Kind of pretty high damage, you could say. Good. Now we'll have another fight this day. Well, I don't mean this fight. Another pretty difficult fight. I'm not sure how did quick combat lose an enchanter here, but oh well. So we need to give away an Iron Fist now, and the next enemy is also quite a challenge. I mean, not necessarily a particularly difficult fight, but you'll see. It definitely looks very scary. Okay, this fella is Thorgrim with maximum resistance. It means no mind or any other offensive spells for us. He also sports a very high interference, look at our spell power. His very high defense makes his units very sturdy to regular damage. In addition, he has a very wide range of annoying spells such as Blind, Forgetfulness, and a lot of different buffs and debuffs. Pause now if you want to give it a shot yourself. And of course you notice the obstacle in the middle that we once again will be using. It's kind of a theme of this map, you could say, but like in general I would say that it's a theme of any map, because obstacles are basically your strongest weapon in most of the fights. So like their usefulness and your ability to use them is very important, like when you play any game of Heroes. Anyway, so that's gonna be our first setup. Now we want to destroy the cannon fast, because it just killed like 9 enchanters in a single shot. Very painful. And Now, there is one pretty important thing. As I said, he has mind spells, such as Blind and Forgetfulness, but mostly our concern is Blind, because as you can see, he casts a few buffs, and his Forgetfulness may be not on the top of his list for now. So in order to avoid your units blinded, for example, like basically any but like coatls or shooters, you never want to wait with them. You want to always defend with the units that you do not use, and with the units who you end up using, you want to be using right away, so that obviously your shooters. And like your final setup looks pretty much like this. So there is a 3-tile wide entrance, and we want to be using it with a clone to block this entrance for 2 turns. So as you can see, I create a clone and then activate a block on it without moving it. And if I don't move this clone next turn, it could be attacked from the right side. So I move this clone to the left side. Now this only unit that can reach this part of the entrance will hit it and will continue blocking the entrance for everyone else. So that's basically the idea. And since he consistently casts Forgetfulness like every few turns, I did not take an Orb of Permanence here, and I'm using it basically to remove everything from my units and from his units. This way you could say I'm draining his mana gradually. Thankfully he doesn't have that much. And I only have to cast it like once every 3 to 4 turns, maybe 5. Also, ideally you want to have Nagas fight your clone. It's not... you can set it up, but sometimes it's not gonna work, and that's the case with me here. So Gorgons ended up engaging with my clone, but when they will be gone, I will set up Nagas next. And Nagas, the best thing about Nagas is that they have a no retaliation attack. And no retaliation attack, while it's a boon for you, for your units most of the time, and very annoying to deal when enemy has it, sometimes you can abuse it against AI, which we will happily do. So right now I have to cast a clone every 2 turns, so that means that my longevity, or like price of my survival, is 20 spell points for 2 turns. So roughly 10 spell points per turn. It could be enough for this fight, but we can do slightly better. This enemy is pretty strong. As you can see, the damage is not spectacular. Also because of the air shield, most notably. But I just can't really dispel like every 2 turns, just off the air shield. I don't think it makes sense. Maybe it does. But frankly, I don't think it does. So I could kill a Gorgon here, and this way a Naga would engage, would kill the clone, Probably should do it. Maybe I will do it next, but kind of that's the ideal situation for me to kill the cow. Okay, that's what I did. Perfect, and now same thing for now. But the idea is to obviously to bring down the number of Nagas to 1, and at this point and sometime before that I actually don't have to summon a clone anymore. I could just tank the damage with my main coatl, and as you can see, I'm already contemplating tanking damage here, but not sure, maybe I should clone still. 8 Nagas still would be hitting pretty hard. Yeah, I should have resurrected them a while ago. Also, don't forget to never wait here, right? As I said, since he has a blind, he will happily blind your units that you waited with. AI has a very I mean, it likes casting blind on units that did not take a turn, so that it would take away their ability to do that. Oh, now, perfect. 1 Naga deals 27 damage. Now I probably already applied the shield. That's also applying a stone skin here is not a bad idea. I probably should dispel first because I don't want him to have air shield. And then I want to apply a shield and stone skin. Stone skin is pretty good when enemy attacker has some attack advantage. Although in this case he has like a sizable attack advantage. Maybe stone skin is not that great here, but it still kind of reduces damage a little bit. Like, I think attack difference should be around 14 for Nagas, so that's 70% bonus damage. And stone skin removes 30 of this, so that's about 17% damage reduction. Maybe like not very accurate, but probably somewhere around that. Now I can basically resurrect 3 coatls at a time, so my mana spending gone down very much. Okay, my clones ran out of mana. I mean, out of ammo. Oopsie daisy. Kind of annoying when some of your shooters ran out of mana and some did not, like every now and then mess up. And when I don't mess up, I play it very slowly. There we go. Not too difficult, but nonetheless. Thorgrim is always quite annoying enemy to deal with because of his spell immunity. Okay, and that's a final fight for this day. We can restore some mana and get ready for the final day of this playthrough. Finally, we'll get some use for our berserk with these devils. Although, to be fair, I think just you can do anything really against them. It all goes down to like maybe small mana spending difference between options you have. Probably could have done it a little bit better here. Like, you don't really need to damage them, like distribute damage between them. You're just fine killing them one by one and then finishing the third stack after that. Probably could have saved maybe like one berserk this way. And I mean, it's not that important. Fortunately, fights in this portion are part of the map are not tuned to like a single spell point, and mainly because like map maker can't really control how much knowledge you get, so it would be pretty stupid to balance around a specific number of spell points. So thankfully there is this variance and a lack of desire on the part of map maker to make it miserable for us, so we are good here. Next fight is also, it's pretty funny. Pretty funny. Very formidable enemy. With a clever solution, I would say. Maybe, I'm not sure I actually even solved it correctly, to be honest, but I feel like should be more or less the way it was intended. What an interesting item loadout, you might think. This dangerous looking fella is indeed very dangerous and very good looking. That's Odin himself, sporting a very high level like many other enemies we had so far. His army doesn't look right. Maybe I see some extra digits there after a mental injury I suffered fighting previous enemies. Or maybe he doesn't have a sharpshooter's bow. Oh wait, he does have it. Well, at least he should be susceptible to blind or forgetfulness or berserk, right? Wait, that's also not the case, as he sports a sleepkeeper. There is only one tiny detail that I omitted so far, and that's his noteworthy spellbook. He has a single spell in it, and that's the almighty Hypnotize. Now, having so much experience with this map, can you find a way to beat him? Pause now if you want to take a crack. Our ticket to victory in this fight are bounty hunters. And if Orin applies Hypnotize on them, he will share his specialty with them. And thanks to their special ability of preventive shot, they could do the whole thing. So, a few things. So, they must be the only target that enemies can hit. That's one. And that's what happens if they do. So that's why I applied invulnerability on both of my living coatls there. And another thing is that bounty hunters need to be blocked off from melee attacks because AI is not that stupid to actually shoot at bounty hunters that would wreck it. So if there was a way to attack them in melee, they would actually all charge forward, just hoping to kill them in melee next time. And obviously they would do that at some point. And another important detail is I used Frenzy on bounty hunters. They would not be killing entire stacks of Sea Dogs and Archmagi without Frenzy. And for that I had to use a trick I probably mentioned a few times already that requires you to wait with a unit and then apply Frenzy, and it gives you 2 turns of Frenzy basically. Another important detail is that I had to waste turns or like defend or move my units, other units, turn 1, so that that would incentivize AI to actually apply Hypnotize on bounty hunters. As you may recall, I already mentioned that AI prefers mind control spells on units who did not take a turn. So for example, if I did not move my coatls, like a 2 coatl for example, at least that's the case, AI would actually choose to hypnotize coatls instead. So I wanted to create maximum incentive for AI to hypnotize bounty hunters by not moving, by waiting with bounty hunters, and to disincentivize AI from casting Hypnotize on everyone else by acting with them right away. And that's what we got. One last detail. I also, obviously, he could cast Hypnotize at this point, and that's part of my concern. So I did apply anti-magic on Quattles, but I did not apply anti-magic on enchanters, and I did not do that because of the fact that I brought interference artifacts here, and he actually, with interference, he actually doesn't have enough spell power to hypnotize enchanters. It doesn't really have that much importance, I think, so my primary goal here is draining his defense with Disrupting Ray. So enchanters, I could also apply anti-magic on them, doesn't really matter. But there we go. Still nice thing to know, I think. So it would allow me, for example, to summon a clone. I actually did not think about it. Could have summoned a couple of enchanters to deal with Medusas a little bit faster. But in general, it's kind of actually pretty crazy how these 12 bounty hunters dealt with thousands of units. Pretty cool. Now I raise more units, one at a time, apply anti-magic right away, just in case. I really don't want him to take control of them. It's not like they could do a lot, but just to avoid any unnecessary complications. Also, I will be able to... Okay, that's sort of an unnecessary complication I was talking about. But this time I did it to myself. Also, I will be able to restore my mana after this fight. Before the final boss, by the way, that's a second to last fight. And the final fight will be very, very soon. Okay, I need to resurrect last units. I don't need to apply anti-magic anymore, because I will just finish him off. Okay. Well done. And now restore mana and get ready to face our ultimate enemy. Enemy has an interesting army, not gonna lie, and also very high stats. 70 titans are probably the most disturbing factor. One tiny detail is that this enemy is also a 100% effective armorer. It means that our units can't deal any damage to them. Oh well, I have one good news for you. Enemy is not immune to mind spells. Although, wait. About half of its most dangerous units are innately immune to mind spells. pause to see if you can figure out one of the most beautiful solutions yet on your own. Needless to say at this point, but you most definitely noticed a nice pocket in the middle. Bonus points if you noticed as well that Crusaders could be hypnotized. My first go-to idea was very simple. Put a single Quattle in the middle and drain Titan's ammo by resurrecting enchanters, first destroying an ammo card by a magic arrow, for example. The problem is that this way I was losing too much mana trying to keep up and didn't have enough mana to finish the fight. Was roughly short about 150 mana. Which, given that the enemy is an armorer, we would have to be finishing with spells. We have an implosion and a very helpful earth orb, so that's our primary damage dealer here. So how do we save enough mana? When I first stumbled into a relevant note in Physmic about a week or maybe 2 weeks before actually taking this fight, I dismissed it as seemingly impractical. I forgot even the context for this note, but I just had this like very vague memory of it existing there. Little did I know back then that it can be very practical actually. At some point I asked for a bit of help, and after a short conversation with the map author and thinking through it, I came back to Physmic and found this note. Oh, the solution is so beautiful that it just blew my mind. Check it out. After you try it a little bit, it's very easy to survive for like 2-3 turns or even for 20 turns. So that's how we can relatively easily do it. So we put a Quattle there, but first we need to hypnotize Crusaders. But not to avoid them hitting Quattle, but to do a very sneaky thing. Now, when I was draining ammo, I would destroy an ammo card first turn and then resurrect enchanters every other turn, and I would use bone dragons to block way to Quattles to make sure that Crusaders do not hit them. But now I'm doing a different thing, so I bring Crusaders towards Titans. They are not blocking Titans at this point, so I include invulnerability. And now I cast Berserk. Et voila! A creature under Berserk actually ends up blocking all shooters around it, including friendly ones. And with this very simple setup, and like just think about it, we first cast Hypnotize to actually bring Crusaders towards Titans. Then we cast Blind to avoid Crusaders. So I mean, if we cast Berserk right away, then they would just hit something and Berserk is gone. So we need to blind them first to make sure that they don't hit anything. And then we apply Berserk, and the blind Berserk unit ends up blocking Titans inside. They can't leave exit because of the ammo card. Very helpful now. And they can't shoot. I mean, that's just mind-blowing. And to be fair, I mean, it's probably even to a degree can be applied on a regular or somewhat regular map, like in just normal setting. All you need to be able to do is to cast Blind and Berserk, right? It's kind of a high bar nowadays, but sometimes enemy could have like Titans, for example, a strong shooter that you cannot disable with mind spells, and he might have like a weak stack or a stack that you could make weak enough. And also AI tends to guard its own units as well, so you might even not have to cast Hypnotize. I mean, tends to guard its shooters, right? So you could just blind and then Berserk right away. So that's kind of actually funny how it could be like generally a very strong move, like for many somewhat difficult situations. So enemy has an animate dead as well. So we want to avoid her being able to raise undeads here. And I think it was pretty obvious that we would be using accurate shot to kill black dragons. Now dealing with undeads takes a small trick, nothing crazy, so we do not kill an undead in one turn. We need 2 implosions to kill an undead stack, so you'll see how we do that. But obviously we must prevent her from raising them. Given how many spell points enemy has, it's a race we are gonna be losing. We'll renew slow right now, or maybe like a couple turns later. A good news about hypnotized. I reapplied hypnotized to Crusaders, by the way. Berserk dispels, removes hypnotize, and hypnotize also removes Berserk, by the way. That's why we can control the unit now. So, and the unit under hypnotize does not get any mass buffs or debuffs, so I reapplied slow, but it did not slow the Crusaders, and now I waited, and I will do 2 hits in a row, and then I'll use Crusader to body block the dragons. And I will do the same with Dread Knights, and there we go. Now enemy only has a unit under my control, so basically that's a good game, lady. But oh man, I think this blind Berserk trick is so good, so good. Loved it, and that's a final boss. I mean that was really amazing. Kind of out of 2 final fights, I think another one also was very good, but I think this one actually for me takes the cake. Out of two final fights, I mean there are some really amazing fights in this end game. Anyway, that's it for this video and for the map. Fortunately, with some help from map maker, I was able to pull through it. Really happy, learn lots of new things, and maybe even feel like I could do some similar map in future, but obviously I will take a break from this sort of content for some time. It's just a little bit maybe too draining mentally and in general, but the best experience in terms of puzzle solving, the best I could have hoped for from a map like this, and really not much reasons to be upset about like any fight, anything, like not much things that spoil the experience by having to rely on too much random needed for my victory. I had some things that where I did rely on random, such as fight against enemy with magic elementals and fairies in the beginning, but that's my own fault. So at least I learned how it could be done properly, and that's probably most that matters on a map like this. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, and please leave your comments below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.